Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Kejadian dia sudah dari lahir. Cantuman dari benih yang kutuk.
At the beginning of the movie, Linda is shown inside an elevator. However, as she steps out, a demonic entity appears, standing ominously behind her. As Linda moves toward her room, she hears someone call her name, which startles her. She quickly rushes to enter her room, where her friends are already gathered, waiting to surprise her with a birthday celebration. Linda is delighted by the surprise and blows out the candles. But suddenly, some demonic spirits begin moving toward her, eerily, wishing her a happy birthday. Following this, Linda confides in Wate about the disturbances she's been experiencing since her 21st birthday celebration. She mentions recurring nightmares, often involving a baby. Despite her doctor attributing the symptoms to exam stress, Linda feels they're unrelated. Wate suggests visiting Viwin, who runs a Tafiz school for girls, believing that strengthening her connection with God could help. Next, in the bus station washroom, Linda hears a demonic voice call her name and encounters a demonic version of herself. It warns her that it's time to fulfill a promise, and when Linda asks what it wants, the entity reassures her, saying it is always with her and that it is her. In a flashback, Linda's father Zaidi confides in Ustaz, expressing his struggle to care for Linda due to the reminder of his late wife's sin whenever he sees her face. Ustaz consoles him, explaining that while his wife sinned, she has passed away, and let this be between her and God. Zaidi acknowledges that Linda is not his biological daughter, and he has decided to send her to an orphanage the following week. Later, Zaidi hears demonic voices from Linda's room, and when he investigates, he's shocked to find her in a demonic form. Concerned, he picks her up to bring her downstairs, only to discover Linda already downstairs. The demon reveals it has come to claim its promise before pushing Zaidi down the stairs, resulting in his death from a broken neck. The next day, Linda visits Viwin's school, where Viwin is overjoyed to see the girl she raised has come to study the Quran there. She calls Hannah and asks her to take Linda to her room. As Linda leaves with Hannah, Jamila asks Viwin if she believes they made the right decision in accepting her. On her way to her room, Linda collides with her demonic self, who tells her she doesn't belong here. But when Hannah asks what happened, Linda sees that the figure has disappeared. In a revealing flashback, it is unveiled that after Zaidi's death, Wate brought Linda to her orphanage. Later that evening, in the prayer room, Linda hears the demon's voice once more, asserting that she belongs to him, and he has come to claim his promise. Suddenly, Linda is horrified to witness Jamila in a demonic form, insisting that the time has arrived to seal the deal. This prompts Linda to flee the room in terror. Outside, she continues to be disturbed by demonic voices, and as she runs away, the demonic entity is revealed standing ominously nearby. After some time, a girl named Emma becomes possessed by a demon, terrifying the other students. Jamila quickly intervenes to try to control the situation, advising Emma to remember God. Just then, Linda arrives on the scene, causing Emma to start apologizing and becoming extremely frightened. In a moment of desperation, Emma jumps into the nearby river, promising not to repeat her actions. Other girls jump in to rescue her and bring her safely out of the river, and after a while, Emma regains her senses. Jamila approaches Viwin and requests that she send Linda back to her place. She explains that Emma was possessed and ended up jumping into the river, fortunately surviving the incident without drowning. Viwin states that this never happened before, to which Jamila suggests that they do not know what Linda might have brought with her to the orphanage that led to their student being possessed. Meanwhile, Linda calls Wadi, expressing that the disturbances are escalating. She mentions wanting to leave and seek help from Ustaz Aznan, but suddenly, the window opens on its own, and the call abruptly disconnects. Jamila acknowledges Viewin's desire to help Linda, but expresses concern about the potential risks to other students and the school's reputation. Viewin reminds Jamila that the founding principle of their school is to guide young girls in drawing closer to God, to which Jamila says if she really wants to help Linda, she should take her to seek treatment and remove whatever is inside her causing the disturbances. In a flashback, Viewin, Aznan, and Wati discover Linda in a possessed state, and Viewin implores Aznan to assist. Aznan carefully approaches Linda, reciting prayers, but the demon claims ownership of what belongs to it and dismisses Aznan's intervention. Undeterred, Aznan warns the demon that he will destroy it, but the demon looks at him and lunges at him, but Aznan throws it away. However, the demon again jumps on Aznan, prompting Aznan to swiftly lay Linda on the table with the help of Wati and Viwan. Aznan continues reciting prayers, eventually driving the demon away. However, Linda suddenly becomes possessed again. She spits on Aznan and knocks him down. The demon then attacks Aznan again and tries to strangle him, remarking that he is not strong enough. Viwan steps in and tries to remind Linda of her identity, promising to take care of her. As Viwan makes this heartfelt pledge, Linda gradually returns to her normal state. Meanwhile, Linda tries to flee from the school, but halts when she hears someone singing prayers from a nearby house. Intrigued, she approaches the source of the voice and finds a man named Taha reciting prayers inside. He invites her to come in, but just as Linda is about to enter, a sudden lightning strike startles her, causing her to abruptly flee from the scene instead of going inside. As Linda flees, the demonic laughter continues to torment her, and suddenly, a lightning strike hits nearby, knocking her unconscious. The next morning, Linda awakens to the sound of a child crying, and the door suddenly creaks open, revealing a child, and suddenly the demonic child reappears and advances toward her, seemingly entering her body. Linda screams in terror, but then she wakes up once more, realizing it was just a nightmare. Later, when she comes out, a man tells her that Viwan will pick her up later. After he leaves, his son Taha asks Linda if she is a new student at Viwan school, to which she says yes. We then see her with Viwan, and she asks her about the uncle, to which Viwan informs her that he is Pact Dala, who assists in taking care of and cleaning the school area. In a flashback, Dala informs Viwan that Linda shouldn't stay at the school because her accompanying entity will always follow her. If agitated, it will react and protect her until the promise is fulfilled. Viwan questions why the entity, if protecting Linda, continues to disturb her. Dala explains that it aims to weaken Linda's faith, preventing her from drawing closer to God, and doesn't want her at the school. Viwan asks what the entity wants from Linda, recalling when they rid her of it when she was around 12 years old. Dala reveals that the entity left her then because it wasn't the right time, but now, perhaps, it's time to claim what has been promised. The next day, during dawn prayers, Linda is startled when she hears a demonic voice repeating prayers after her, and as she turns around, she is horrified to see her own demonic form. She questions who it is, and it responds that they are the same. It reassures her not to be frightened, because it will always be with her wherever she goes. Then, it starts laughing and suddenly disappears, and Linda wakes up from her sleep, realizing it was all just a nightmare. When she comes out, she encounters Taha at school and expresses surprise at discovering that he is the imam there. Taha informs her that it has been 3 years now, and reassures her that if she has any problems, she can confide in him, and he will do his best to help. Later that night, Ima becomes possessed again and climbs up into the watchtower, continuously apologizing. Jamila implores her to remember God and begs her to come down. However, Ima responds that she didn't listen to it, and now it is upset. She reveals to Viwan that the entity has threatened to harass the others if they do not leave the place. At that moment, Linda arrives, and upon seeing her, Ima begins laughing maniacally, telling Linda, "I told you that you do not belong here." Following this, the entity compels Ima to jump from the watchtower, resulting in her tragic death. Later, Jamila confronts Linda, holding her responsible for everything that has been happening. She demands that Linda leave the next day, but just then, Linda's appearance turns demonic for a brief moment before she leaves there. Jamila runs into Viewin and shares her plan to find someone who can eliminate Linda's companion. However, Viewin cautions her against it, warning that it is dangerous and not the right time. Undeterred, Jamila responds that if Viewin is afraid, she will take matters into her own hands. Jamila forcefully takes Linda with her, telling her that she is taking her to a place where they can get rid of her companion. Linda pleads with Jamila to let her go, promising that she won't return to school, but Jamila insists that they will eliminate it and accuses her of causing Emma's death. Suddenly, Linda turns demonic, which terrifies Jamila and causes the car to veer off the road. Linda wakes up in a hospital, where she encounters the spirit of her mother, who assures her that she will never leave her again. Overcome with emotion, Linda gets up to hug her, expressing how much she has missed her. But to her horror, she sees a demon reflected in the mirror, and suddenly, she wakes up from what was only a dream. We then learn that Jamila died in the accident, and Linda blames herself for the tragedy. Losing faith in God, she confides in Viewin, questioning the fairness of her situation. She says it was her mother's mistake, but she has to bear the consequences and asks, is this what they call justice in life? Aznan pays Linda a visit and explains that in her situation, it's not easy to dispel the disturbance because it involves the fertilization of her late mother's seed with a black magic practitioner. Linda questions why the disturbance has returned, noting that Aznan had previously healed her when she was 12 years old, and she hadn't experienced any disturbances since then. He explains that it is God who ultimately heals and suggests that she pray to God and seek prayers from their parents. Linda expresses her hesitation to seek prayers from her mother, given that she is the cause of all this. Aznan responds by emphasizing that, despite any mistakes she may have made, a mother is still a mother. She requests Aznan to take her to her mother's grave and asks him what really happened during her birth. But sensing something unusual, Aznan suggests they return as it is almost dusk. He brings her to his home and tells his wife that Linda is staying here tonight. Later that night, Linda suddenly wakes up hearing a thunder sound, and she hears someone calling her name and asking for help. She notices the voice coming from outside, and as she opens the window, she gets terrified seeing her mother's ghost there. She rushes out to help and follows her voice to the cemetery, where she digs up her mother's grave and retrieves her remains. Suddenly, it starts raining heavily, and Linda encounters a man there who claims to be her father. Linda confronts him, insisting that he is not her father, but a Satan. In response, he places his hand on her forehead, triggering a vision. In the vision, Linda sees her mother with a shaman, and her mother was willing to do anything to fulfill her desire for a child, resorting to black magic for assistance. Satan asserts that Linda is its child and must fulfill her mother's promise, but Linda denies being its daughter and attempts to flee. Satan then reveals the deal made with her mother, stating that Linda must bear his offspring because the more children he has, the more power he holds over people. Just then, a paper falls from her pocket containing a prayer given to her by Viewin. She starts reciting the prayer, causing the bodies of Satan and his demons to burn and eventually disappear. Seizing the opportunity, Linda pushes the devil into the grave. But suddenly, when she wakes up, she finds herself at the same location where she and Jamila had met with an accident, and Jamila had tragically lost her life. The scene shifts to the hospital, where Linda pleads with Viewin to assist her in finding someone who can heal her, as she can't endure the torment any longer. Later, when Linda awakens, she is surprised to find Taha beside her, who informs her that he would like to ask for her permission to heal her. She agrees, and Taha begins the process. However, Dolha arrives and warns Taha not to touch Linda. It is then revealed that the man masquerading as Taha is actually Satan in disguise, who then reveals his true form. Satan warns Dolha not to interfere with his affairs, stating that he is here to claim what belongs to him. Dolha attempts to fight Satan, but his powers prove to be weak in comparison. Taha then steps in, challenging the demon, and after a fierce battle, he successfully overpowers Satan. But the Satan vanishes. It then possesses Linda and knocks Taha down, asking if he thinks he can destroy him. Taha commands it to leave her body, but Satan claims she is its child, conceived from its seed. It then declares that humans are foolish, and that God's finest creation is itself. It then jumps out of the window in an attempt to flee, but encounters Vuan, only for it to attack her as well. Amidst this chaos, Taha emerges reciting prayers, soon joined by his father and Vuan. With their collective effort, Linda begins to remember who she is and attempts to fight the demon. And after struggling for some time, eventually, they all manage to defeat Satan. Following this, everything seems fine, and everyone is delighted with Linda's recovery. However, one night as Linda prepares to read prayers, she hears a demonic laugh, and the movie ends abruptly. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.